Hello, welcome to the Education for Next Generation. This is Ravanti welcomes you to the topic of chemistry, and today's topic is carbon and its compounds. We know that 118 elements, carbon is the sixth element. The carbon, it has got the atomic number 6. The configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Because the carbon has 4 electrons in its valence shell, it belongs to the 4th group or 14th group. Now, because of the presence of 4 electrons, it belongs to the 4th group or the 14th group. Because the differentiating electron is entering into the p orbital, it is called as a p block element. Now, this carbon requires 4 electrons to gain stability, means it can donate either 4 electrons to gain stability or can accept the 4 electrons to get stabilized. But the nuclear charge is not permitting the carbon atom to form ionic bond. Why? Because if the carbon atom is donating 4 electrons, means the 6 protons, after donating 4 electrons, it becomes only 2 electrons, which is very much impossible. Why? Because the nuclear charge becomes very high. In the same way, if the carbon is accepting 4 electrons, means it becomes 10 electrons, means the 6 protons cannot hold that many electrons, that is 10 protons. So, 6 protons cannot hold 10 electrons. Why? Because the charge of negative particles increases like anything. Similarly, 2 electrons if present, the 6 protons does not permit, or it is not possible to remove that many electrons from the carbon atom. Now, because of this, the carbon, it is trying to share the electrons amongst the other elements. It may be the same carbon atom, or it can share the electrons amongst the different atoms or the elements so that it can get stabilized. So, because of the presence of 4 electrons in its valence shell, carbon has the capacity to form 4 covalent bonds. It can be with the same carbon atom, or it can be with the similar atoms like hydrogen or chlorine or bromine, like that, or it can be the mixed number of atoms. Like you take example of methane, where the carbon is connected to the 4 hydrogen atoms. You can take another example of chloromethane. The carbon is connected to 3 hydrogen atoms and 1 chlorine atom. Another example is bromomethane. So, because of the requirement of 4 electrons, which is neither possible to donate nor possible to accept, carbon is trying to mutually share the electrons amongst the atoms, because of which it is forming a tetravalent compound. Why? Because the carbon has 4 valency, because of which it is forming a tetravalent compound, and because of which it is highly stable or more stable in nature. Let us say the electronic configuration of carbon. The general electronic configuration of carbon is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. What is the orbital diagram? 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Let us see the valence shell configuration only. 2 electrons in the s orbital and 2 electrons in the p orbital, 1 electron each. Now, 1 electron, when supplied with some amount of energy, it is getting raised to the next energy level of the p orbital. It is forming 4 unpaired electrons. Now, because of the presence of the 4 unpaired electrons, the carbon is forming a tetra.